Chapter 39, Coexistence of New Love and Old Flame. How does it feel in the 308 department? Su Yuanci was busy organizing documents when her phone rang cheerfully. She answered the call, and Yuning's voice came through the receiver. Su Yuanci, I heard that Ji Ying'er is hospitalized. Yes, what's up? Su Yuanci asked. Is Liu Yu at Hualin Hospital? Su Yuanci sat down on a chair after putting away the documents, rubbing her tired eyes. Annoyed, she said, yes, all four ancestors are under one roof. 4. Su Yuanci explained, Ji Tang and Su Ruhi are sharing a double room, and Fu Jing Zhou and Liu Yu are both taking care of them. Yuning exclaimed, oh my god! These wealthy young masters really know how to play. Imagining the scene, Yuning couldn't help teasing, darling, how does it feel to have your new love and old flame coexisting under the same roof? Su Yuanci replied despondently, I feel like dying. Yuning. You called me at this hour, is there something you need? Yuning responded, I have half a day off in the morning. I was originally planning to visit you at Hualin Hospital, but since Mr. Liu Yu is there, I'll skip it. Su Yuanci leaned back in her chair and asked, why? I'm afraid he won't like me getting in his way. In the hospital room. After Su Yuanci left the room after checking on the patients, Fu Jing Zhou also left. Liu Yu sat on the couch, boredly scrolling through his phone. After a while, Su Ruhi's parents came to the room to visit. Seeing Liu Yu on the opposite side, Feng Manqin's eyes flickered with emotion. She took a couple of steps towards Liu Yu, intending to strike up a conversation. However, Liu Yu ignored her completely, closed his phone, and stood up as if to leave. Ji Tang, who was engrossed in eating grapes and watching TV, glanced at Liu Yu's movement and asked, leaving? Yes, I'm going home to cook for my wife. This remark caused Feng Manqin to freeze in her tracks. Ji Tang raised an eyebrow and teased, Mr. Liu Yu is really attentive to his wife. At that moment, Ji Tang's phone received a message. After quickly glancing at it, she stopped Liu Yu who was about to leave. Liu Yu, can you do me a favor? Liu Yu paused and turned to her. What is it? Could you help me look up a person, Su Jinyi? Liu Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. Why are you looking him up? Ji Tang smiled and said, he's my life-saving benefactor. I want to thank him in person, but I can't find any information about him. Yesterday evening, Ji Ying'er had already arranged for members of the Ji family to investigate Su Jinyi, but this person seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Despite a whole night of searching, there was no trace of him. Frustrated, Ji Ying'er turned to Liu Yu for help. Remembering the scene in the hospital room from yesterday, Ji Ying'er absent-mindedly spoke, I feel like Su Jinyi might know Su Doctor. Could you help me ask Su Doctor? Liu Yu replied with a light acknowledgement and then turned to leave. Sitting by Su Ruhi's bedside, Su Xiang noticed a subtle change in his expression when he heard Su Jinyi's name. Su Xiang's mother was surnamed Su, her name being Su Yanjun. Half an hour later, Su Xiang and Feng Manqin left the hospital room. Observing Su Xiang's changed expression, Feng Manqin asked, what's wrong? Do you know who Su Jinyi is? Su Xiang looked out the window, his gaze becoming distant as if he was recalling past events. Just feel like the name is somewhat familiar. At the Hua Court mansion, Liu Yu had prepared lunch and packed it into a container. Holding the container, he dialed Chen Heng's number. Have you found anything? Yesterday evening, Liu Yu instructed Chen Heng to investigate Su Jinyi. Sorry, boss, I couldn't find any information about him. Liu Yu furrowed his brow. You couldn't find anything at all? That's right, this person is like a blank sheet of paper. We couldn't find anything about him. Liu Yu placed the container into his car and drove towards Hualien Hospital. What about that phone number? Chen Heng quickly replied, we checked it. It's registered in Anhua City. Anhua City and Xiangcheng were both among the most developed cities in China, being centers of economy and influence. Thinking about Anhua City, Chen Heng remembered a key point. By the way, boss, although I couldn't find information about Su Jinyi himself, I did find someone with the same name. Who? The eldest son of the prominent Anhua City family, the Su family, Su Jinyi. Liu Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. The future head of the Su family. Exactly, Chen Heng continued, but this Su family heir is known for keeping a low profile, only interested in antiques and calligraphy. He has never appeared in public. Such a person would be gentle and reserved, a typical wealthy young master. However, the Mr. Su who appeared at the hospital yesterday exuded a fierce and battle-hardened aura, as if he had experienced the trials of life and death. This sort of person couldn't possibly be a pampered young master of a prominent family. Thus, despite the shared name, Chen Heng instinctively ruled out the possibility of him being the Su family heir.